everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new here. My name is Luna, and today I am starting a new series called Whimsical Wanderings. So this is going to be anything that I want to teach on that has to do with spirituality, like witchy stuff. It's totally up to you guys. Just let me know what kind of videos you want to see, and I can do stuff on that. So I thought a perfect place to start would be talking about tarot, because I've been doing tarot for a couple years now, and I've always really enjoyed it. I feel very called to divination and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I just wanted to give you guys some of my advice if you are wanting to start tarot. Now, I am making this super intro level easy, but there's also, like, as we go, some more like intermediate tips. So I just wanted this to be very accessible for everybody at every learning level. And I don't want to like ever, what's the word? I don't want to gatekeep ever. Like, if someone wants to learn tarot, then I think they should have the opportunity to learn. So Lucy wants to join us. Come here. Come here. Oh, chunky girl. Okay, her tail gets really ploofed when she gets excited, and it's the cutest thing ever. So this is a 4-step process in getting started in tarot. So yeah, I'm just gonna break it down in those 4 simple steps. But first, before I get into those, I'd like to talk about why you should want to do tarot, or why you should definitely pursue it if you're interested. I think tarot is a really great tool to accessing for me, it's more like your inner subconscious and your higher self. And everyone has a different view, and that's totally fine. So don't feel like you have to agree with that. If you are pagan or Wiccan and have a deity, you can call on them. Most people who are pagan, from my experience, and what I do is I call on spirit, just as like the overall consciousness. But I mean, you can do this with whatever like God or higher power you believe in, and you can just call upon that. I have had a lot of people who are Christian want readings, and they're like, is this bad? And I'm like, no, dog, you're totally fine. If you ever want to do this, you can call upon Jesus or saints or whoever you want to like talk to. It's really just a tool to kind of connect with another being or power. Sorry, I hope you guys don't mind Lucy. She really wanted to join. And so, yeah, so for me, I view it as connecting with spirit, but also my higher self and my subconscious. And I think it's a really great way to kind of dive deep, and you'll see symbolism come through a lot of your cards. So if you have, like, almost every time I do a reading, people are like, oh my God, that's the thing if they get a general reading, they're like, well, those are the exact things I've been thinking about recently. And it's like, well, that's because, that's going to come up in a reading, you know what I mean? Like the things you've been thinking about. And if you view it as coming from your self-conscious or your conscious, it's using cards as a symbolism to evoke what you already know, if that makes sense. So that's kind of my little why I love tarot. And I thought I might just mention like a brief history, or like what is tarot for those of you who don't know. So tarot is a divination tool, is what it's called, which just means it's an object and an activity used to connect with some sort of divine entity or yourself, if you view like your higher self as that. And it's more so to gain insight than anything. A lot of people who have misconceptions about tarot think it's like the devil or something, and it's really not that. So yeah, people have been doing tarot for a while now. There are 78 cards in a tarot deck traditionally, and tarot is just like more focused on the why and the how and the details rather than yes or no, though you can still do yes or no answers on like a reading. But generally it's used for like why and how, and if you want to do a yes or no, personally I go to my pendulum board because that's just much more straightforward. So yeah, it's like less interpretive. It's literally just like an answer. Tarot is quite interpretive. Okay, step 1, acquiring a tarot deck. So I would like to start this off with acknowledging a superstition that is around, and some people subscribe to it, some people don't. I personally don't, and that is the superstition that you have to be gifted your first tarot deck. And I kind of feel a little bit like that might be, I don't know, a little gatekeepy. Like, what if you're the first witch of your family and you don't know anyone who does tarot? Like, you know what I mean? Or if you're in the broom closet, like many of you guys are, like, you can't really have that happen unless you have like a really close friend and you're like, hey, please buy me a tarot deck, which to me felt really weird. So I bought my first deck, and I feel a super, super strong connection to that deck. Once you get a couple of decks, you'll start to realize that you will feel a connection to them, and the energy transfer is like different. You just like, you feel it. I don't know if that makes sense, but I have 3 tarot decks, and the energy is completely different in all of them. My first deck is very like trusty dusty. Like, I love him. Like, I really feel connected to that deck. My second deck was a gift. My second deck was bought for me as a gift, and I feel less of a connection with that deck, and that's probably just because I already have put so much work into my first deck, and so that one I use mainly for very casual readings, just like if a friend comes over and they want a quick reading, then I'll use that one. And my most recent deck was also a gift, and I also feel a very strong connection to that one. And in step 2, I'll teach you guys how to kind of gain that connection and the best ways to connect with your deck. But point of that story is just that you don't need to be gifted a deck to connect with it, and to ignore that superstition, because I think a lot of people who read tarot don't really abide by that. But if you believe in that, that's your thing, then just get gifted a deck then. I would also like to provide an alternative for those of you who maybe can't afford a deck right now, or can't really be open about your practices if you're younger and you're living with family or whatever the case is. There is an app, and I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Do you see Lucy? She's trying to eat my mic, so we'll see how that goes. The app is called Labyrinthos? I don't know. I will have all the information in the description bar. And I use this app because I like to do a daily tarot reading for myself, just a simple 3-card spread to do like energy of the day, focus on avoid, or body, mind, spirit, just whatever, just to give me a basic idea of what I should expect, what I should focus on, and what I should avoid, as I said already. But sometimes the day is really busy, or I'm doing lots of other stuff or schoolwork or work or stuff, and just at the end of the day I realized I didn't do one, so I go on my app and they do tarot readings on there as well. This is the only tarot app I've ever had, but I really, really love it. I'm not sponsored. They have not contacted me. This is all my own opinion. I talked about them in my Best Witchy Apps video. I'll link that here. And they also, so the things I love, that you can do the readings, you can do tarot, oracle, or astrology readings, and you can also, there's a learn tab and has all the tarot meanings. So I also use this as a reference while learning tarot and learning all the significance of each card, because there are 78 cards. There are a lot. So a lot to learn, a lot to memorize, and that is fine. I use that app for that. And also they have little courses, which were super helpful. And I will get more into that in step 3, but just keep that in your noggin that if you don't have a deck of cards, you can always get this app. And I'm sure there are plenty of other apps. This is the one that I personally recommend though. Okay, step number 2, connecting with your new deck. Okay, so you have your deck, or you got the Labyrinthos app, and what I would recommend, and now for the app it's different because it's digital, but you can probably use it the same way. So I'll just start with physical decks. So you have your deck. I personally would recommend putting it, if you have an altar or a sacred space where your energy is at a lot of the time. Like, I feel like my energy occupies my altar space back there a lot of the time. And so since my energy is there, I put my tarot deck there, literally just let it sit there for a week. You can talk to it if you're into that. I know some people might think that's a little weird, but I don't think it's weird. So if you want to talk to your tarot deck, I think that's a fine thing to do. Some people recommend sleeping with it under your pillow or by your nightstand. That's probably really fine because I hear it a lot, and I hear I don't know, that just seems to be a pretty common way to connect with your deck. I didn't do that, but I think that would work just fine, obviously. And my third deck, what I did was I kept it in my purse, and I have a lot of my crystals in my purse, and I feel like my energy is there as well. So I kind of just kept it in my purse. It came with me. It spent time with me. Like, the energy's connected. You know what I mean? So I think the main thing is just getting your energies intertwined with the deck so that it feels very natural when you start pulling cards. And you can even, as you're getting to know your tarot deck, ask it just random questions, keeping it simple, like how's my day gonna be, what's something I should know today, and just pull one card. Literally just pull one card in the morning and ask, how's my day gonna be, or what's something I should know, or what's something I should focus on. And that will kind of start to get you connected with it as well. Step number 3, okay, this is after getting connected to your deck and pulling a couple of cards, because I don't think this is absolutely imperative at first, because there are apps like Labyrinthos and there are books that can help you interpret your cards, so you can do readings while not knowing the meaning of the cards, because you can just look them up, you'll know the meanings then, and you can interpret them just as well. So this step is obviously to learn the meanings and learn how to interpret the cards. So I'm trying to think of how I started. My first deck, actually I have it right here. This was my first deck. I literally got this at half price books, so don't feel like you have to get your deck somewhere especially witchy or spend a whole bunch of money. You really don't. I think this one was like $10 maybe, and this is all freaking reliable, dude, okay? Let's just pull one. Okay, so as you can see, this deck has a meaning down below, okay? So that is super helpful when you're working with your first deck and you don't fully know the meanings. Now, they're not always as elaborate as they could be, or go into so much detail, which is why I like the Labyrinthos. Dude, I'm freaking out. I don't know how to say it. I like the app and the website that they have, because you can easily reference it and it goes into detail, you guys. So that's what I recommend when looking them up and learning. Obviously, there are a ton of books out there. I will put in the description the books that I have and that I've used. I think I only have 2, maybe just 1 tarot books that I have that I reference sometimes. And obviously those will help you learn. It's really just about repetition, because the more you do it, the more you'll read the cards and read about them. Whereas if you just read the entire book of tarot meanings, it's gonna be really hard to connect those to the specific cards, like when you're doing an actual reading, if that makes sense. And that might just be my way of learning, because I'm very hands-on and I'm not a big fan of just like information dump and just like keep it in here, like, you know what I mean? So learning as I'm doing the readings seemed to work really well for me. Another thing that I think helped so much, okay, is the Labyrinthos app. Let me tell you, because they have that learn section. So they have all the tarot meanings, okay, so you can say, okay, I got 5 of Wands and the Sun, and then you can look at it and reference it and see what the heck it says, and then make your own interpretations on it. But also, the courses they have, literally you take a course on, and I say course, they're not like huge, it's like a little, pick the one that means, control, or pick the one that means respect, or whatever, you know what I mean? So, and then there's 4 cards and you have to remember which one means what, and then pick it, and it really helps you learn. I feel like it helped me learn a lot. They have the major arcana, the minor arcana, the people, like the page through king, and you learn a lot about it. And then you can also learn reverse, which is something interesting that I guess I'll get into now. An important thing to note is that when you start reading, you have the option to read reverse or ignore reverses, and that's totally up to you. It's kind of just your style and how you feel. I do personally consider reverse cards. I know the first tarot reader I ever watched and really respected on YouTube was Stargirl, the Practical Witch, and she does not do reverses. So it's totally fine either way, and have respect for people with whatever way they do. That's just what they're called to do. I like using reverses because they always seem accurate to me, and it just feels like the right thing for my practice. So it's up to you. Basically, if you don't know what a reverse is, it's literally when you get a card, say you get the Magician, okay? But when you do your spread, the Magician is upside down, it's reversed, and it has the opposite meaning, okay? If that makes sense. And the app has the section for that too, so you can read, you know, whichever, if you get it upright or reversed, you can figure out what it means. So for starters, if you guys don't know anything about what is included in the tarot deck, you have the major arcana and the minor arcana. And the major arcana is the, like the, what am I thinking? The nouns, I guess, like the star, the moon, the Hierophant, the, you know, temperance, like stuff like that. And those are all reflecting a sort of journey from 1 to 22. And I'm so sorry if you can hear noise, guys. They are literally doing construction right outside my house. You can probably see it. There's a huge fucking, things that scoop? I don't know. Those scoopy things. And they're just piling dirt and rocks into their things. And it's very loud. So, anywho. It represents the journey from the Fool to the World, the Fool card being the first card and the World being the 22nd card. And it's, if you draw a major arcana card, it's like a more, I'd say, like important, it's referring to a big important happening in your life in that moment, whereas minor arcana, which is like cups, wands, swords, and pentacles. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. Cups, wands, swords, and pentacles. Those are going to be more of the details, and like if there are people involved in what tarot is trying to tell you, they might use like a page or a knight or a king or queen. So in the minor arcana, there are 56 cards. So a lot bigger of a suit, I guess. You have, like I said, cups, wands, swords, and pentacles. And in each of those, it goes up to 10, and then you have page through king. And each of those are connected to an element. So wands are connected to the element of fire. And so they're going to have the traits of like what you'd expect in a fire sign, like if you know astrology. So, you know, like passion, creativity, like getting active, like doing stuff, you know, like it's fiery. So that is what element is connected to wands. Then you have cups, and that is water, just like you would think of a Pisces or Cancer or Scorpio. Lots of emotions and, you know, like creativity and the unconscious and like all of that stuff. Like love is a huge part of the cups. Then you have swords, which is represented by air, which for all the air signs, you know, like intellect, logic, like smarts, wit, all that stuff. And finally, you have pentacles, which is connected to earth. So think of your Tauruses, your Virgos, your Capricorns. They are going to be very grounded. Lots of money here. So pentacles are super connected to finances, and not always, because sometimes it will refer to wealth and it won't mean like physical wealth. It might mean like happiness wealth or, you know, something else like that. But oftentimes pentacles are connected to finances. Then you have your spreads, and I would just start easy with the spreads. You don't have to do anything absolutely wild. It's pretty chillin'. You can just kind of figure out what kind of question you want to ask, and if you want to ask like a how is my day gonna be, or what should I know today, literally just pull a card in the morning, and that's your card. That's the easiest spread. The second easiest spread I would recommend is the 3-card pull, and you can do so much with the 3-card pull. What I usually do is a body, mind, spirit, and that'll give you a bit of an access into your body, mind, and spirit and where it's at right now, and kind of like what you might need to work on. Like maybe you're ignoring, you know, something in your mind, and it'll give you insight onto that. But also the thing I do every day is an energy of the day, focus on, avoid, and I really, really like that spread because it's super easy. Okay, pulling 3 cards is like really easy. And it's pretty straightforward as well. There's not so much interpretation that has to be done because nothing's like, you know, coinciding too much. It's very straightforward. So I really recommend this for all my beginners out there, but also for everyone because this is like just a really good way to get an overall analysis on your body. And my typical full spread that I really, really like, I've been doing this since the beginning, is the past, present, future. And you pull 4 cards for each. So 4 past, 4 present, 4 future. And if it's still unclear, I like to pull like 2 or 3 more like clarification cards. So yeah, that is what I enjoy. And there are literally just like a million spreads that you can learn. That's kind of part of the fun, is learning all these different spreads and ways that you can kind of figure some stuff out. And so yeah, something you can do that I like to do sometimes is, if I'm seeing a lot of spirit numbers, if you guys see like 333 or, you know, whatever, 777, you know, you can use that in your reading if you feel like, because I know spirit likes to do this personally. There was like a month straight where I saw nothing but 1111, and I was like, okay, dude, we get it. What do you want though? Like, what are you telling me? And so this is a really good way you could implement that. And so if you're seeing 3, shuffle the card 3 times, okay? Okay, sorry, my camera died, so I'm sorry if this is a weird transition. But yes, if you're seeing 3s a lot of the times, then you can use that and shuffle your cards 3 times. And whenever I'm shuffling, just like a little tip, I like to just kind of center myself, and I'll get into this in step 4, but quick sneak peek, I like to just center myself, and as I'm shuffling, think about the question, think about the person, if you're doing it for somebody else, and just like ask spirit for guidance, and then shuffle however many times. If I don't have a number, I usually just shuffle until it feels right, which I know is like annoying to hear, because like, how do you know when it feels right? I usually just like go with my intuition and my feelings, but I like to definitely get in a few good shuffles before I really get into it, if that makes sense, just because you want to really get everything shuffled and in the energy and whatnot. So finally, step 4, start reading. When you do this, you should definitely take notes. And I know it's easy to feel like, oh, I don't know all the card meanings or, you know, whatever, so I don't feel like I can start reading. Just read for yourself. And if you have really close friends, ask them like, hey, can I practice on you? Like, I'm learning tarot and I'd love to, like, you know, just practice on you. And of course they'll be like, sure, like if they're chill. That's kind of how I did it before, because, you know, you don't want to, especially if you're planning on doing it as kind of a bit of a job or a career, you don't want to just like jump in your first time charging people, because it kind of feels a little bit insincere, or you don't really know. Like, I don't know, that's how I felt. Like, I was like, I can't charge people if I don't know that I'm accurate at these. So literally my friends would like make it dates where I'd be like, come on, girls night, guys, I'll do your tarot. And like, we'll watch movies and order pizza. And so it really, you know, that really helps. And so just asking your friends if you can read for them, and taking notes if you can, taking pictures, because sometimes when you first start, you might do a reading and you're like, I don't really know how these connect, especially if you start doing those past, present, future spreads where you have 12 cards going on. You might be like, okay, well, this is a lot to comprehend. Take a picture and then look at it like in a couple days from then, and then see if you're like, oh, okay, cool. Well, I have, you know, these 2 of the same suit, or, you know, these 2 are super similar, or there's a reoccurring theme going on in all of these cards, and then you'll catch those things, and then it'll be easier to catch those things quicker in the future. So before I start a reading, this is usually what I do. I will just quickly center and ground myself, which is a word you'll hear a lot in like the witchcraft community or ritual spiritual community. Easiest way you can say it is just literally just like sit down, be calm, create a relaxing atmosphere. You know, if you need music, that's totally fine. If you like silence, that's fine. I always like to be comfortable. Usually I like to be sitting on the ground just because I feel really grounded, but sitting is fine. It's literally whatever makes you feel comfortable. And for me, I like to set the mood with lighting. If I have dimmer lighting, I just feel like I can... There's like a thing where your third eye can... This might sound kind of wild to some of you guys, but your third eye can see better when it's dimmer because you're less... connected to the physical world, if that makes sense. I don't want to sound too hippy-dippy for you guys, but I do really connect with that, and that resonates with me a lot. I feel like when it's dim, I can really focus on my inner voice and my intuition. I'm not so focused on the physical world. So I know that sounds crazy. That's something I like to do. Obviously, you don't have to do that. I always will light some type of cleansing herb. You can get cedar, or you can use sage if you like, if it's not white sage, or Palo Santo if it's like sourced correctly and ethically. But even just lighting incense really, really, in my opinion, helps set the mood. Because I don't know, there's something about, aromatherapy and getting those herbs. Light some lavender incense, guys, some patchouli, some nag champa, get in the mood. And the more your atmosphere is set to your liking and your comfortability, the more accurate your readings will be, because you'll be really comfortable, you'll be able to listen and trust yourself better, and you won't be like tense, like, okay, well, is this it or is this it? And second guessing yourself and whatnot. So atmosphere is very important to me. I am a Taurus rising. Do know that you are just gonna you're just gonna get better with practice, and that's why I really recommend doing those daily polls. I only recently, here's a tip. I literally just recently started doing daily polls, and it has already helped me out so much. I highly recommend it, okay? I really think if I would have done daily polls when I first started doing tarot, it would have just helped the learning process so much. So I really, really do truly recommend that for everyone out there. Even if it's a 1-card poll or a 3-card poll, doesn't matter if it's in your physical cards or your app. It really is just reading, and then you'll associate the meaning of that card with the card and how it looks, and you'll just learn better and memorize it all better. So those are all of my tips for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope this was helpful for you. And I hope you're excited to get in and start reading tarot for yourself and possibly others. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. I love you all. All my links are in the description. And yeah, I will see you guys next time. Bye.